Hey everyone, welcome back to Imagination Tech. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a review on the Emax Tinyhawk Freestyle, and if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll put a card up here or maybe up here. I'm not sure where it's gonna pop up, but do click on that. Make sure to watch that first, and then come back after you watch the whole review of that, the whole review of the Tinyhawk Freestyle. So anyway, today I have the Tinyhawk Freestyle, and while the Tinyhawk Freestyle is a great flyer out of the box, it flies really great, flies smooth, very locked in. There were some things that were a little bit lacking. One was the stock antenna. The stock VTX were really crap. So today we are going to be taking a look at some upgrades that you can do for your Tinyhawk Freestyle, and I'm just going to guide you through all of the things that I did on mine. So without further ado, let's get to it.
So I've already opened up my Tinyhawk Freestyle, and now I've already removed the camera and put it in here into my Tinyhawk S. So we're just gonna put this one aside for a moment and just take a look at this the Tinyhawk Freestyle. Now I have here all of the things that we are going to be using for the upgrade, such as this Cadex EOS 2 camera, and I already have the XT30 connector replacing the original PH2 dual connectors. So what we have to do is we have to replace this camera connector, because obviously this has a different connector and we want it to be able to plug directly, well actually not here onto the flight controller board, because we want it to plug here onto our Diamond VTX. So we can use this this connector that came with the Diamond VTX and solder it directly onto onto our EOS 2 camera. So first things first, we have to remove this screw, remove the backing of this thing, and then just have to remove liquid electrical tape, and then we'll just replace this connector for our EOS 2. Okay, now comes the hard part. I've unscrewed the 4 mounting holes for the flight controller, so that would give us a little bit more flex, and I will be trying to desolder the pins going onto the VTX, but we'll see how it goes. I might just cut them off and just remove it from the top pins. So let's just go ahead and try this. Okay, so obviously I'm just cutting straight through. Right. Now we have our VTX removed. We just need to remove the rest of the pins on the flight controller. This is a broken camera from my Tinyhawk S. I'm just gonna remove the connector from this and use it on our Diamond VTX. Okay, so we've already checked for shorts and everything is plugged in. I've just got to snip off these wires, or maybe I could just maybe tie them in a knot. Doesn't really matter. It's not going to be used for the camera, because the camera is now connected directly to our Diamond VTX board. And the way this is hooked up is we have the ground 5 volts, and that's hooked up to our Diamond VTX. And this is video out coming from the FC, out of the OSD, and into the VTX, where it will transmit your goggles or whatever. And this is smart audio, which is hooked up to our VTX as well, so that will enable us to control the settings on our VTX. So we just have to clean this up, put some VHB tape, just so we can mount this without fear of a short, and then we'll just give this a test run.
One final tip when you are going to be using your Tinyhawk Freestyle, or whichever quad you're hooking up your Diamond VTX to, if you're using it on 200 milliwatts, is to set low power disarm, which will effectively automatically set your Diamond VTX to 25 milliwatts whenever your quad is disarmed. And this has probably saved my Diamond VTX when I got my Tinyhawk Freestyle stuck in a tree or when I crashed it and I couldn't turtle and I had to walk to it, which it took some time to get to the Tinyhawk Freestyle, and I could have burned up my Diamond VTX, which was on 200 milliwatts. Obviously, if you're just using 25 milliwatts, then you probably don't need this, but I'd turn it on just to be safe. So to do this, you just type set VTX underscore low underscore power underscore disarm equals on, and that should do it. Just type save and you're good to go. Alright guys, so it is the Emax Tinyhawk Freestyle in its final configuration with all of the upgrades. So let's do a rundown on all the things that we did. First, we we snipped off the dual PH2 connectors and replaced with an XT30. I still kept the PH2 connector soldered on started an XT30 connector over there, and just got a large piece of heat shrink and heat shrinked that whole thing over everything. So I mounted it vertically so that it doesn't put too much strain on the wires. But yeah, I posted it on one of the Emax Tinyhawk groups. So this allows me to still use the two 1S batteries instead of especially if you have a lot of them lying around, or if you just want to discharge the ones that you're using for your Tinyhawk 1S. This actually still comes in handy in a lot of situations for me. So we replaced the VTX, the stock VTX, with the Diamond VTX from Happy Model, and I mounted it this way so that I can still have access to the USB port. So if I want to change anything in there. The only gripe I have is that it sticks a little bit to the right, and I have to lift the board up just to get so that I can get to the SD card, which is a little bit hard when I have the top mounted, but it is possible. So that is something I just have to live with. At least I have I am able to get better video reception from the VTX. It goes to 200 milliwatts, and as well as it has onboard DVR, which I will show you later on. I also extended the wires because the wires on the stock Tinyhawk camera is a bit short, so I had to extend it a little bit, so that I could mount this properly and it's not stretching the wires out too much. But yeah, so I have these 3D printed parts. Yeah, I have this lollipop. This is a UAV lollipop, but you can use it like your Axie or Oxy or whatever lollipop antenna you have. Just stick it in there, and then I had my the wire mounted right here, and it's nice and snug and out of the way. So here it is with the top frame on, and the 3D printed mount with the EOS 2 camera. It sticks out a little bit, so it does take away from the looks factor a little bit, but yeah, that's well, we have to live with that. So that is that's a minor gripe. Everything else, the video quality looks great, the picture quality looks great. So I didn't put my own like XM receiver on this thing, because even with the stock SPI receiver, the built-in SPI D8 receiver, I was getting really good range on this, and was able to get this really far. So I don't think for the flying that I need to do, I don't think I need to change the receiver. It works pretty well for me, and yeah, it's just going to be an added extra weight and added extra component, and that thing is already crammed tight in there, so I'm not really sure where I was going to put it anyway. So there it is. I'm going to leave you with some flight footage. Do note that the flight footage was before I had these mounts, but it was already upgraded with the Diamond VTX and the CADX EOS 2. Also note that these 3D print. I thought this would appear in the shot, but actually, the video was clear. You couldn't see the 3D printed part in the video feed, so that's great. And it's still a little bit of extra protection. So I'm going to put a link to all of these products in the description, as well as the links to the STL files for the 3D printed mounts that I have. And I'm going to leave you with that and some flight footage from the DVR of the Diamond VTX. Until next time, keep building and keep flying. And I hope you like this video. Click on the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. All of that. So, all right, guys. Thanks.